It was cold and dark. As I passed by a doorway, I could see the outline of someone standing on the threshold, staring silently at me. As I moved on, another blast of icy air prickled my face and bony fingers tapped my shoulder. I whirled around, but there was no one there. I was shaking. I was seriously about to lose it, and I had only been in this place for 2 hours. I tried to distract myself. I went into detective mode, trying to figure out how they created each special effect. A thin piece of filament? A clear piece of plastic? A dummy? Fake rats? While at the same time, my teeth chattered, and I dug my fists into my sweatshirt. Nancy, a voice whispered in the darkness. Nancy Drew, I'm coming for you. Welcome to Regular Nancy Drew. Well, hello, Regular Drews.
Hello, everyone, and happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween! Oh, it's my favorite day of the year. I'm so excited. We have our very special Halloween episode for you all. We are covering a ghost story, another ghost story this time, but do not be alarmed. We have moved on from the 1980s ghost stories. And this one is from the 2008 Ghost Stories book, so the Girl Detective Ghost Stories.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to cover number 2, America's Got Terror.
I gotta be honest, I love the premise of this one.
Okay.
So fun.
Yeah.
We probably could have used a little bit more editing, but just
God, yes.
Nancy, Bess, George, and Deirdre all trapped in a haunted house together trying to see who can last the longest. That's a great setup.
That's true.
That's a really solid premise right there.
I didn't love like the reality TV aspect of it.
Yeah, that was a little cheesy.
A little cheesy, a little problematic.
Yeah, definitely exploitative.
The whole exploitation angle of, you know, them as participants and then also of like the house and the history surrounding that. But overall, I thought it was just goofy fun.
Yeah,
you know?
It was really fun. Yeah.
Yes.
Definitely more solid than the 80s ghost stories that we've read before. I enjoyed this one a lot more, even if it wasn't perfect, obviously. It's still Girl Detective, but...
Well, I mean, I think there are a lot of issues with it. I gotta be honest.
Yeah.
There's some pretty big editorial oversights in this. One in particular, which we will talk about. But I'm just like, this doesn't even make sense because of this mistake or whatever. So that really took me out of it. But it is still like leagues better.
Yeah.
than the ghost stories of the 80s, and that is so sad to have to say. Like, it's a really low bar.
Yeah, unfortunately, like I said, they could have used like one more Passover by the editor for sure. That could have like maybe bumped it up right away, just from a real quick little edit, but maybe some more extensive editing as well at the end. I feel like the ending was a little mishmash, confusing. Yeah, rushed. Very quick.
Yeah, more explainy than showing. Yes. Yeah.
And then there's a lot of parts where it's like, oh, I wish I had my flashlight. And then the next sentence, Nancy pulls her flashlight out of her pocket. It's like, okay, do we have it or do we not have it? And then we misname people sometimes. Like sometimes she'll be talking to someone and then suddenly their name changes. It's just little things like that.
Yeah. And a lot of it too is just like the way that they structure the book. They don't really seem to like close any like scenes. Do you know what I mean? Like they kind of just cut it and then jump to the next one, which is like maybe okay, but a lot of the times they don't do in the I don't know what you call this, but like, you know, when you have like a little like line break in a book, like they'll do like a little star or like a little tilde or like whatever to show like, okay, we're in a new scene. Like that would have really benefited this short story. And I just feel like it would just be like just a small adjustment to like visually show people, if you're not going to take the, you know, like time in the story to explain that like we're in a new scene, like then having that like visual break would have been really helpful. But just a small a small thing, because it's pretty jarring. It's a little jarring, some of these transitions and then the mistakes. It feels a little bit like, wait, what is going on? What's happening? It makes it a struggle to follow the story. But overall, I thought it was just goofy fun.
It is fun.
Great seasonal Halloween little story. Fun thrills, spookiness that was fun to read. So overall, I don't think it's not worth a read. I just think you should go into it expecting maybe not the most polished experience.
Right.
Yes. So.
But still delightfully spooky. I felt like spooky wise, this was way spookier than like Greenhouse Ghost was, so
yes.
It's very fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Very spooky, very seasonal. Loved it. Do we want to talk about the cover?
Yes. I don't love it.
I don't either. It's one of those like early aughts photorealistic covers, which we've talked about before, are not our favorites. But this features cover model as Nancy holding a flashlight. She's kind of in a spooky woods and there's fog. And then the font, they've done something interesting with. It's hard to tell what is going on with it, but like, so the Nancy Drew at the top has like in the color, I don't know how to describe this. In the color like of the words is like a pattern. There's like some kind of pattern there, but also not.
Right. It makes it look like they were trying to do like a blood drippy effect to make it spooky, but it's like pink and purple instead of like actually red, and it doesn't look as like drippy as a bloody thing would be. It almost just looked like paint splotches, honestly.
Yes, it definitely looks like paint splotches. That is a great way to describe it. But it also looks to me as though almost like there is something behind the Nancy Drew, and like it almost looks like words to me, like underneath it. Somehow, but that you just can't read. And
it's kind of weird.
I keep like trying to like decipher it. So I guess if they wanted us to spend a lot of time looking at the cover, they succeeded. Because I'm like, what is that? What is that supposed to be? Some of it does look like paint drippy blood splotches stuff, but also in like the A and the N and the C, it looks like
I could definitely see what you mean.
Something else there. I'm like, what is it? What is it?
It looks like they have this model like just in front of a green screen for a photo shoot, and then they just like drew the trees behind her rather than actually trying to like show a scene from one of these stories or something like that. So not my favorite. It's kind of plain, but it's not bad.
I do love, the very like spooky ghost stories font at the bottom in green. That's very early aughts. And then on my book, there's a little magnifying glass, and inside of it says 4 bone-chilling tales of mystery and terror. Feels very Goosebumps.
Yes.
The whole presentation.
Definitely.
I do have to say, too, I think this cover model looks exactly like AJ Cook on Criminal Minds. Just like a younger version.
She does.
With the headband and everything.
Oh my gosh.
Like, that's the girl from Criminal Minds.
No, that's definitely her. Oh my gosh.
I don't think it is actually her, but it's just they could be related with how much she looks like her. And the styling too, because that character in Criminal Minds also wears very like preppy, polished looking clothes, which is what they have the cover model dressed in on this. I just thought it was funny. But yeah, not my favorite. I feel like I want to see something that is a little more artistic, a little bit. This is, I think, atmospheric, but in like a generic way, you know, like in a spirit Halloween way. Yeah. Instead of like actually being in like a haunted woods kind of way. I want to actually be in the haunted woods. I don't want to go into the spirit Halloween and pretend I'm in the haunted woods.
The fake trees, yeah.
Yes.
It looks exactly like the other Girl Detective books covers from this time. So it's very like consistent with that. But those, same thing. It's like very generic version of what the mystery is. Weird stock photo images with it. Like it's very of the time. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. But that's okay. That's okay. 3 words?
Reality TV or like reality show. Yeah.
I really want to say like ripoffs.
Yeah. That's, I mean, yeah.
Because the whole thing feels like a ripoff of like multiple things. Like the reality TV is clearly a ripoff of like other like reality TV shows at the time. They literally name it America's Got Terror, which is supposed to be, it's like a ripoff of America's Got Talent.
They're not subtle with their inspiration. Yeah.
The whole plot is a direct ripoff of the Winchester Mystery House and Sarah Winchester.
Yeah.
Like that whole thing. And yeah, so I just feel like reality TV ripoffs, and then you kind of go either way. You could just say like haunting,
yeah,
spooky, or you could say mistakes, because there are a lot of mistakes in the book, but also like people are making mistakes, I guess.
Textiles.
Yes, textiles. That's it. Textiles.
Perfect.
There you go. Reality TV, ripoffs, and textiles. Yes. Oh, so exciting. Oh, okay. Shall we jump in?
Let's do it. Yes.
Do you want to start, Kori?
Sure. Oh my gosh. Okay. So who is Evangeline Waters? Was she in the first book? I'm trying to remember if she was the egg lady. I think she was in the
zucchini one, maybe. The garden one?
That's the first one, I think.
Is it?
Yeah.
The
where
vegetable
the Fabergé egg is stolen. That would make sense because she's helping us with our garden.
Maybe.
Right?
But she has to be a recurring character of some kind from the Girl Detective series. I just don't remember. Because I'm blocking it from my memory probably. So but yes, she's in the first scene.
Wherever she's from, that's probably my favorite thing about this Girl Detective series is that they do introduce more of the recurring River Heights characters, especially Deirdre, obviously. But yeah, so anyway, Evangeline Waters, wherever she's from, is here with, so it's Nancy and Hannah in the front yard of their house with Evangeline here as well, working on the vegetable garden. And Ned comes over and he starts to like make jokes about them being dirty in the garden, whatever. But we learn that Nancy is preparing to go on a trip tomorrow to this spooky old house that's haunted to do this ghost hunt. She's like preparing and packing today. But first, she needs to go visit Lucia Gonzalvo, the River Heights psychic, who I think was also in Without a Trace. She's in one of the ones that we've read. Nancy has to borrow a book from her that's about this house that we're going to. Yeah, so when she goes to Lucia's place, we get a little bit more backstory about this place that we're going to. Nancy's been invited to stay a week at the famous Hackett Mansion. Famous Sarah Hackett started building it after her husband drowned in the Muskoka River in 1883 and just like kept building and like kept adding things on and just kept going and going until 1912. And no one knows why. No one knows why she did all this. No one really knows what happened specifically with the husband. And so Lucia cautions Nancy, you need to stay away from this place. It's like truly haunted. It's more dangerous than you think. Just don't go to this, Nancy. But this just makes Nancy more interested. So of course she's even more excited to go now. But the book that she gets from Lucia is called Murder Mansion, The True Story of Hackett House.
So that night, Nancy is having dinner with Bess, George, and Ned before this big trip. And we learn a little bit more. They really like kind of drip out the story to you at the beginning of this. But so we learn that Nancy is not only just visiting this mansion, she is actually going as part of a reality television show called Can You Hack It?
Because hack it.
And Bess entered them all into this competition, including Ned. But Nancy, Bess, and George were accepted, and Ned was not. Apparently, my thought was, oh, this is like a sexist thing. They want to like exploit girls on TV. But they say that the reason that Ned didn't get accepted is because they considered him being part of the press because he works for the River Heights Bugle, which is owned by his father.
Yes.
Did we know that?
We did. Yeah, they say that in other Girl Detective things.
Is this new information? This is a nepotism hire. I forgot that, I guess.
I think we covered that in the Drew Crew episode very briefly as
probably.
well. But no, this is just for the Girl Detective series where Ned is more like communications than he is engineering and STEM. He's like, he's got his podcast and he works for his dad at the newspaper. So,
well, the podcast is the Diaries.
Oh no, you're right. I'm sorry.
Podcast is the Diaries, but he's like a reporter in Girl Detective.
I feel like the newspaper is also a thing in the Diary series. That's where I'm probably confusing that.
They may have carried it over. I mean, it's a similar theme, Yeah. So I would get it. But yeah. Anyway, so this show is basically going to put them in this haunted house and try to scare them. And then the audience gets to vote on their favorite scream queen from the show. And then that favorite scream queen is going to get cast in this next Rafael Elizondo horror movie. And that is who is directing this reality TV show. Mm-hmm. We also learned that Deirdre has been invited on this show as well. So she is coming along.
I thought that this was a great way to just get Ned out of the way. Yes. Love it. And then also just include Deirdre, because why not?
I mean, when you have a TV show that is featuring scream queens, like, can you do anything else but invite Deirdre? I think she's your star. Like,
she deserves to be there.
You've got it.
Yeah.
So the next day, they all get on this bus to the mansion, and we meet the other contestants and some crew. The contestants are obviously Nancy, Beth, George, and Deirdre. There are also twins named David and Chard, which is short for Richard, from River Heights. There's Grace, a college student from Chicago. Ted, an insurance salesman from Sheboygan. And then two quote-unquote goths named Shadow, spelled Shadeaux.
It is Shadow. I was reading it Shadow. I was like, what a unique name. That's so pretty.
I mean, it is a really cool way to spell Shadow if your name is Shadow. I'm guessing Shadow. That they picked this, though, that it wasn't given to them at birth. But sure. I mean, if you do want to name your child Shadow, that's dope AF.
That's a pretty cool name.
It's a great name. And then Theo. Gosh. Theo's the other one. It's just normal name. Shadow and Theo. The only crew that's there, and this is true from like now until all the way to the end of the short story, is the director, Raphael, who's got a goatee and an earring and is like constantly trying to get them to like ham it up for the camera. And then two camera operators named Latina Latina Prescott and Zach Youngblood. And Bess thinks Zach is very cute, and they have like a flirty thing going on.
Yes.
Raphael on the bus is really like appreciating Deirdre's flair for the dramatic. He keeps like directing them to like, okay, pretend you're like really scared as we're approaching the, the mansion or whatever. And so Deirdre's really like, hamming it up. But he keeps getting her name wrong. Oh, so funny. And we also learn at this point, too, that they were instructed to not bring any electronics with them on this trip. So no cell phones. That's going to be kind of a big, important plot point, obviously. Mm-hmm. But finally, we arrive at this mansion, and Nancy thinks it is so spooky. And I just want to read just a little excerpt from this, just so that you guys get an understanding, because there's no point in me just like describing it when they literally do it in the book. So Hackett Mansion lay dead ahead, and it was creepy. Looming against a gray, cloudy sky, dozens of jagged turrets and weather-beaten gables seemed to stare at us with hostile eyes. Smoke rose like breath from several chimneys, and the wide front door hung open like a mouth. So, say what you want. Say what you want about the short story. It does give you the spooky vibes right off the bat. It does a really good job at that, which is, of course, the whole reason why we're reading it.
Of course. So they pull up, and once they get inside the house, Nancy immediately gets this feeling like they do not belong here. There's like this like cold shiver that runs down her, and she just has this like general bad vibe from this place. And she does note that there's no other members of the crew helping the camera operators. And so she has this like thought that like, oh, this is a pretty low budget production. Like we do not have a lot going on here. Cause like you said, it's just Raphael and the two camera people. So yeah. I think there's also a guy that like drives the mirror, but he's not like Pete. Here. Yeah. Pete doesn't like, he doesn't ever come inside. He's just there to drive us back and forth. But at this point, Raphael calls them all together, and we get a little history lesson about the place. So the Hackett family, they were this really wealthy family that owned a textile mill operation, and they became really famous for creating a type of fabric that became known as Hackett silver. And I think they actually show them a piece of this Hackett silver. It's like a metallic-y fabric that I don't even know what's special about it, but it just like moves in this really interesting, beautiful way. And then in 1883, Nathan Hackett, the husband, tragically died by drowning in the Muskoka River. And that's when Sarah Hackett began her work on the house. Several people speculate that this odd construction was due to her grief or guilt because maybe she murdered him, actually. Like maybe she pushed him in the river. I don't know. But then construction stopped in 1912, and then she died about 6 months later. Raphael then lifts this piece of Hackett silver. Okay, so there's like a table that they have in the middle of this house that they're standing in here, and Raphael like lifts this piece of Hackett silver up away from the table, and then underneath that there's like skulls, like fake skulls with each person's name on it.
In blood.
In blood, yeah, all creepy, drawn on there. Yes. And then each skull has like a chain that leads off of it and like leads, like it's like a trail to your room in the house.
This is what I don't understand. Okay, so all of these chains go off into these hallways, right? But this cloth was just covering the skulls. Did we not see the chains before?
Surely they could like tell that they're like running on the ground or something. Yeah. This is kind of a weird setup. But yeah, so each of their names is on it. And so you have to like find your chain and then lead it down the hall to where your bedroom is going to be for the night, basically. Because it's this massive house with all these bedrooms in it. Bess's skull actually says Beth on it, which is kind of funny because as we know, Bess's real name is Elizabeth. And so like it makes sense you might assume that her nickname is Beth, or maybe you misheard Bess or something. But it's not as funny because there's so many other mistakes with the names that like anytime they like intentionally mistake the names, it's just like, okay, well, you know, we didn't. Like earlier in the story, we've referred to Ned as Nick.
Yes, I was going to bring this up. We call him Nick briefly, and it's totally like glossed over. Like she doesn't say like, oh, sometimes I call him Nick, or like this is the nickname or something. But it's like, I don't know if that was a mistake, if at one point they were like, are we going to nickname Ned Nick? Or if this is something that they do in the Girl Detective series. Like maybe they call him Nick sometimes in the Girl Detective series.
Not that I remember. Maybe the writer got confused and was going to write Nickerson and just wrote Nick instead, you know? Like,
yeah. But I do think it's interesting because obviously this short story does already bear a lot of resemblance to the CW show.
Yes.
Right?
Which, of course, calls him Nick.
And I'm like, maybe they got some of their inspiration from either the Girl Detective series or specifically the Ghost Story series.
I wouldn't be surprised. That show has so many little subtle references to the books that you might not pick up on right away.
Yeah, they've clearly done their research. I mean, just watching the pilot alone, which is the only episode we've covered on the podcast, like they clearly reference so many of the original mystery stories, like clearly like
they referenced the games.
They did their research, and so it would not surprise me in the least if they were like, oh, actually they wrote like ghost stories for Nancy Drew. If we're doing a Nancy Drew ghost television show, we need to look at those, you know? Like,
oh my gosh, not to change the subject too much. I just have to tell you this because I literally only noticed this yesterday. I own Carson's diploma from the CW show, like the actual prop they used in the TV show, his law degree or whatever. So on the fake law degree, there's like the signature of the dean of the college that Carson graduated from. And the handwriting on it is like intentionally a bad signature or whatever because it's just a prop. And I was looking at it yesterday. I'd never noticed this. And I've owned this for like years now. The signature of the dean is Jacob Aborn from Bungalow Mystery. So just like another little reference that you would never pick up on that.
Seen that
because they don't like zoom in on it on the show. It's just like this prop in the background, but looking at it,
they probably have just like this collection of names. Like when you can use these, and the props department is just like, I picked that one, and then just signs it. Like,
I was like, the last name kind of looks like Aborn. I never noticed that. And then I looked at the first name. I was like, that definitely says Jacob. That's definitely Jacob Aborn's signature.
That's so cool.
So yeah, just
what
little
cool
bitty
Easter
references like that. Yeah, I never would have thought. But anyway, Bess is Beth.
Yes.
And so yeah, we have to make little jokes about how we can't remember Bess's name or Deirdre's name. But these chains do lead us to our bedrooms for the night. So when they each pick up their chain, it separates everybody. So each person gets sent down like a different hallway. And so Nancy starts following her chain down a spooky hallway. And it's clear that like the camera guys are following her because she can see like the light of the camera just like kind of lighting some of the hallway for her. But otherwise she's like trying to make her way down in the dark. But they've rigged up like a lot of fake spooky stuff in here. So she's like hearing spooky sounds. There's flashing lights. There's like puffs of air that are like coming out of the walls, and then there's like cobwebs she's walking through, and then somebody even like whispers her name as she's walking down the hallway. Yes.
Nancy.
I see you, Nancy Drew. But then she actually hears Deirdre screaming, and it doesn't sound like the fake screams that she was doing when we first arrived, that the director was kind of having her hamming up a little bit. This sounds like a real scream. So she takes off running to go find Deirdre, and she ends up in a bedroom where Deirdre, Bess, and George are already waiting there. And it actually turns out all of their chains all led to this same bedroom. So they made you think you were all going to be separated while you're sleeping, but they're going to have all four of them sleep in this same bedroom together. But the thing that made Deirdre scream is that there is a dummy of Sarah Hackett laying in the bed in here. And then when they walked in, it like sat up on their own and like screamed at them. So of course this startled Deirdre.
This is what I'm talking about the like problematic, like disrespectful stuff.
Yeah.
Like this is a real woman. I mean, not obviously this is a fictional story, but in the setting of this story, that was a real person.
Yeah.
And this is her actual house. And like to come in, I mean, it's probably borderline to set up a haunted house in someone's real house, but like, okay. But then to like
base it on their actual deaths,
on their own like tragic life story. And then not only that, put a dummy of that person in the bed, like a bed they could have slept in, like covered in blood, sits up and screams at you. The hell? Like,
yeah, this is really disturbing. Nancy's even really startled at this.
Yeah.
Miss Nothing's freaks me out.
Yeah.
And I think this is actually one of two dummies of Sarah that they have in the house. And so they're like, oh, don't worry. We're going to move the dummy so you can sleep in the bed. But
there's still another one leaning up against the wall in the room at the same time. They're like, that one stays, though.
Yeah. They refuse to move the second one out. They're like, we're only moving the bed dummy so that you have space to sleep somewhere. But like, yeah. So
even in a non-haunted house scenario, I am not sleeping in the same room as a dummy human-sized figure.
Yeah.
Doll is bad enough. A human doll is bad enough. Dummy? No. F no.
Is it bolted to the floor? Because if you're not going to move it, I'm moving it. I'm going to put it out in the hallway for the night.
Toss it out. Like,
there you go, Sarah.
Because you just know you're already spooked out. You're falling asleep. You're staring at the dummy because you can't not. And then you just see its hand move, like just a finger twitch. And you're like,
nope.
Wait.
Nope.
Did I see that?
Yeah. And apparently it's animatronic if it can like sit up on its own and stuff. So it might be twitching in the corner all night. You don't know.
Ugh. No.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, gosh. So yeah, they give them, Bess and George are going to take the bed, and then they give Nancy and Deirdre sleeping bags. And so they just have to sleep on this freezing floor because, by the way, there's like no heating set up in this place. Like we are in like a abandoned mansion that hasn't been lived in decades. So everything's nasty.
Is this legal? I mean, I'm sure they had to sign some consent forms to be able to come here.
I don't know.
Yes, oh my God. The conditions are pretty bad. Pretty bad. Yeah.
I think they have running water. I don't remember.
But they do. They talk about them brushing their teeth at certain points.
That's right.
They have running water. Yes, but no heat.
But no heater. Yeah.
No heat.
I don't think they really have lights either, actually.
No, I don't think so.
Oh, no, that's right, because the camera crew has to like set up the lights everywhere.
Yeah.
Duh. Okay. Although they have a they watch scary movies during the day, so I don't know. Maybe they have like some sort of generator for TV.
I think they must because they also talk about like and they do light a fire in like one of the like dining room or something like for them to like eat and like warm up and stuff like that. But like, yeah, otherwise, throughout most of the mansion they don't. So.
You know what that means? Cold showers. If there's no hot water heater.
No, just not showering. I'm not showering.
Sounds awful. You're already freezing and you have to go take a cold shower if you don't want to stink.
No, just a whore's bath for me. Just a quick scrub under the arms and the
bring some baby wipes. Yep.
We're done.
This sounds so unpleasant, y'all. I would never go on a trip like this.
No.
Oh my gosh. No. So yeah, all four of them go to bed in this bedroom. The next morning, Nancy wakes up and the other three are already gone from the room. But she remembers that they're supposed to all have breakfast in the dining room, so she figures she's just the last one to sleep. So she starts to head through this winding house and ends up getting lost on the way to the dining room because, again, this is the Winchester Mystery House, so we just have like doors that lead to nowhere and staircases that just go right up to the ceiling with no way to like get up to the next floor, and like honestly, it's crazy.
My dream. My dream. Outside of like the haunting thing, I'm not so keen on that.
Cold showers.
The cold showers and then like, of course, the reality TV-ness of it all. But exploring a creepy old house in the daytime, I will only do it in the daytime, where like there's like dead ends and winding hallways. That sounds like my favorite activity. I would love to do that.
Haunted Wickford Castle vibes.
Oh my God.
So cool. But so she's wandering around the house trying to find the dining room. And as she does this, she hears a voice in one of the rooms and realizes that there's like a peephole in the wall where she can kind of like look in and see who these people are that are talking.
Shall I peep? I do believe I shall peep.
Oh my gosh, this is just a spooky Treasure the Royal Tower, isn't it?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. But so she peeks into this room and she sees a man in his late 30s with a birthmark on his cheek. And he's talking on his cell phone and he says, "They're going to find out, Noah. We have to get them out of here." And then the man walks around a corner before Nancy can hear anymore.
So Nancy continues on and eventually makes it to the dining room for breakfast, where Zach and Bess are already making googly eyes at each other. We cannot have a single story in our later Nancy Drew series without Bess absolutely getting romantically involved with the side character. So that's full on happening. But we soon learn that Grace, Will, and Chard have all decided to leave. It's too spooky and uncomfortable for them. That's really what it's framed as being, is that they couldn't sleep last night and were like, we don't want to be here. It's cold. But of course, Raphael's like, oh, they couldn't hack it and they're leaving. Anyway. It's funny. He tells them that they can wait here in the dining room to be picked up while the rest of them go off to explore the house. But then that guy that Nancy saw earlier on his cell phone comes into the room. We learn that his name is Jeremiah Hackett. He is the great-great-great-grandnephew of Sarah Hackett, and he's here to oversee the production on behalf of the Hackett family. And he says that under absolutely no circumstances should everyone go off by themselves. And this causes a little disagreement between him and Raphael. They actually go into the other room so that they can argue away from everyone else. And when Raphael comes back, he seems a bit defeated and announces that actually they're all going to go explore the attic together. Okay. So on their way up the stairs to the attic, Nancy notices a tiny hole in the wall under a portrait of Sarah Hackett that has been rigged to put out a puff of air whenever anyone passes. So this is probably explaining some of those cold air, air feelings that she's been getting. But then soon after, Deirdre shouts out that something bit her. And Nancy goes over and sure enough sees she has a scratch on her cheek. And Nancy finds another little hole, but this one doesn't just shoot out puffs of air. It shoots out splinters.
I don't know how you can
I don't know
do this on this show. Well, I mean, just legally, how are you?
Well, yeah.
doing this to people. Yeah. Anyway, this seems a little too far.
Yeah, we definitely need to talk about this in the future. But no, absolutely. You can't physically harm your participants like willingly, like knowingly. Right. And even after, Deirdre's like upset and she's like, I need like a Band-Aid or something. Like she wants to go get like medical attention, like antiseptic or whatever for the cut on her cheek.
Tweezers to get this thing out. Because by the way, they don't get it out for her.
Yes. And Raphael says that like, oh, okay. I mean, like, I guess if you want, of course, we'll get you medical attention. But if you do, then you're off the show.
Excuse you, sir?
Someone call SAG. This is not union.
No.
Like, what do you mean?
You can't pull a splinter out of Deirdre's neck. Is it on her neck? I don't remember where her cheek, sorry. You can't pull a piece of wood out of her face without like kicking her off the show. You can't take her over to like a brighter area and get it out so you can see it better.
I think what he means here is that because their medical attention isn't on site, that she would have to leave to go get medical attention.
Which makes sense.
But then because she would leave, that means that she's not staying on the premises for the prescribed amount of time or whatever and is like disqualified from the competition because of that. But like, what do you mean there isn't medical attention on site?
The doctor can't come in? Like,
what do you mean you don't have a first aid kit?
Yeah.
Like,
if this gets infected, I hope she sues.
She's just asking to like fix the scratch on her face. Yeah. Like, anyway, super problematic. But so they're up in this attic. Of course, Deirdre is like, no, I'm staying, because Deirdre's that kind of girl. She's not about to like, you know, let a splinter disqualify her from being a scream queen, for goodness sake. So
I would. I'm out.
I would too.
I'm not getting an infection in my face because y'all won't give me a first aid kit with some rubbing alcohol to clean this.
And also, like, whatever, like, jerry-rigged, like, splinter shooter that you've created. Like, no. But anyway.
And her cheek, that's inches from your eyes. That could blind you.
That's so true. Depending on where it is, it could be real dangerous. Mm-hmm. Splinters, too, because they can move around under your skin.
Mm-hmm.
If it moves into your eye... Anyway.
I'm sorry. This is the worst part of the whole story right here.
For real. This is the real horror.
Poor Deirdre.
The real terror in America's Got Terror. America's Got Terrible Splinters. So... But we're up in this attic, and according to Nancy, it is full of thrills and chills, Hollywood style. There are like skeletons rigged to fall out of the ceiling, and then at one point, Zach jumps out with a chainsaw to like scare them. So they really are going full haunted house on this whole thing. But Nancy like turns to look at both the quote unquote goths, so Shadow and Theo, and sees that they're like kind of bored with this whole thing. They're like, this is kind of lame. Like, we've been to scarier haunted houses than this. Like, what is this? But also throughout the day, Jeremiah is following them, clearly not wanting them to be exploring the house. And he also frequently glares at Nancy, like in particular at Nancy, which is weird and spooky. That night, the girls have all been given separate bedrooms, despite the whole sleeping bag situation. None of them are keen to be separated, but Raphael kind of insists on this. So Nancy dutifully goes to her new room and settles in for the night. She takes some notes on like the floor plan of the house because she's like trying to make a map, which is such a Nancy Drew thing to do. Yes. And I would do this too. And she compares it to the book that she brought from Lucia. But then she starts to doze off. And then she hears her name. So she wakes up. And at first she thinks it's just like production trying to scare her with microphones or whatever. But then she realizes it's Deirdre's voice. And it seems to be coming from a speaker somewhere, I guess. They don't really explain this very well. At first, when I was reading it, I thought that Deirdre had come and found Nancy and was in the room. But I don't think that's actually the case.
Oh. I just read it as her, like, just yelling loud enough that Nancy could hear it.
Oh, possibly.
Because I don't know why Deirdre would have, like, a speaker
this is the thing.
Or, like, a microphone or something.
This is, again, like an editing note. They don't explain it in the story. They don't explain what's happening. Nancy just hears Deirdre's voice. I assumed it was a microphone because she was talking about microphones.
Yeah, and then we just kind of like have this happen and they don't specify.
No.
It's weird.
Maybe she was just yelling, but then you would think that she would have woken up other people, but nobody else comes. So whatever, I don't know. Nancy wakes up and knows that Deirdre is calling for her somehow. And so she gets up to go help her, which also, why, Nancy? I don't know. I guess.
Don't know. My Nancy Deirdre shipper heart is yelling right now.
Oh, yes.
First, we have the one bed trope, Nancy and Deirdre with one bed to pick from. And now we have Deirdre yelling for Nancy and only Nancy in the night when she gets a little scared.
Oh my God, you're so right. You're so right.
And then later with the hand holding, I'm sorry, we'll get there.
Wait, the hand holding?
Nancy thinks she feels somebody hold her hand in the night. Assumes that it's
George.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I'm sorry. Never mind.
Well, I guess that's another. But anyway, but yes. No, yeah, you're totally right. I didn't even think of this through Nancy Deirdre lens. I should have been. I should have been.
It's so good.
But so Nancy gets up, and on the way to Deirdre's room, she overhears someone else saying her name, and it's Jeremiah. He's talking to Raphael like behind a door, and she's listening. And Jeremiah is telling Raphael that he doesn't like Nancy and doesn't want her here. And Raphael's like, "What are you talking about? Like, she's great. Like, she's a detective, and we're having her we're gonna like work that into the show and like have her like explain some of like the tricks that we're pulling or whatever. It's gonna be great." But Jeremiah is just like, "No, she shouldn't be here." And he starts to come out of the room, and Nancy doesn't want to get caught eavesdropping, so she like quickly sneaks behind the nearest door. Unfortunately, it seems to be some kind of secret passageway, and it actually locks behind her, so she can't get out once she goes in there. And even more unfortunately, Jeremiah enters this secret passageway, and so she has to like quickly get away and kind of like evade him as she's like trying to navigate this secret passageway while he's coming after her unknowingly, but she's like trying to hide from him, right? Eventually she ends up finding her way into a basement of some kind, and there are like crates in there, and she looks inside and she sees that inside the crates are like a bunch of like crumbling remains of like Hackett silver like fabric, which is interesting. Nancy like wants to like look closer into this, but it's in the middle of the night, and of course she knows she has to get back to Deirdre, and so she ends up taking some of these like fabric scraps, I guess, or whatever, and like crumbling it on the floor like back to find a way out so that she can come back later, like breadcrumbs.
Yeah. I guess the fabric is just disintegrating because it's so old, maybe?
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like even fabric made in like, what was it? The
1880s?
80s? I mean, it would be delicate, but I don't know that it would be crumbling.
I guess it depends. Maybe there's something in the silver or something.
Well, that's true. We also don't know what's in the fabric. We don't know how they made it. So very possible. Maybe it's like plastic or something.
This is clever, though. The breadcrumb trail.
Of course.
So the next morning, everybody who was there overnight is still in the game so far. And Raphael decides that they are going to watch some horror movies in the day, I guess just to kill time during the daylight. I think they're actually his movies.
Yes.
And they get all excited. Nancy thinks that the movies are really bad and just are excuses for girls to run around screaming and basically like murder porn and just watch these girls get murdered in disgusting ways.
Yeah.
Jeremiah, though, seems to think that this is like hilarious. Like he enjoys seeing this. Yeah. So we have this. I mean, it's just kind of like another day at the house, and then they go to bed and then they wake up. And this, though, at this point, though, the Goths are not scared into leaving, but they just like have some book festival that they wanted to go to this day. And they weren't going to go to the book festival because they had already committed to do the show. But now they think this is so boring that they would just rather go to the book festival. So they're just going to leave so that they still have time to make it to the festival. So this just leaves our four girls and Ted, the insurance salesman. Ted is Okay, so again, he's like a life insurance salesman, and he starts like playing it up for the camera at this point. He's like, "Oh, don't you guys want to like buy life insurance from me in case you die in this house this weekend?"
Yes, yeah.
And nobody really thinks this is funny, but Jeremiah like really takes this the wrong way. He freaks out on Ted. He starts yelling at him about how death isn't a joke and like people could actually die. And he picks up a box and actually throws it at Ted and also Zach, who's right there. And so Raphael has to like come over and like get Jeremiah and take him away to calm him down. And of course, this really concerns Nancy. So she starts talking to Bess, George, and Deirdre and is like, should we leave? Like, this is getting weird. But Bess and Deirdre are both like, no, I'm going to be the Scream Queen. I am not leaving now, especially when there's like already so many people that have left. And Bess says that she needs Nancy to stay because Nancy has been explaining a lot of the like spooks that they're doing, all the movie magic to her, which is helping her to not freak out and makes her want to stay here longer. But George actually does not care. George could care less about being here. So they decide as a group that George is going to leave the house tonight and explain that she can't hack it anymore. But then she's going to go back to River Heights, meet up with Ned, and then together they're going to plan to look into this Jeremiah Hackett guy. So now George leaves. So it's just Bess, Nancy, Deirdre, and Ted, the insurance salesman. And that night, Deirdre starts calling out Nancy's name in the night again. But this time, she calls her because she hears Jeremiah talking behind a closed door. And it sounds like he's talking to the ghost of Sarah Hackett. He's saying things like, "Don't you tell them, Sarah Hackett, and I won't confess." Is this just another like movie magic thing to scare them? Like, is this just like a fake thing? Or does he really believe that he's talking to the ghost of Sarah Hackett? So the next morning, Nancy goes over to Raphael and is like, I need to talk to you about Jeremiah. I'm getting like really weirded out by his behavior. Is this like just a stunt y'all are pulling, or do I need to be concerned? And Raphael's like, no, that's weird, but I promise I will keep him in check. And if he does one more weird thing like this, then we will shut the production down. I'll take you guys home. Don't worry about it. He even offers to give them a whole day off because he thinks that they're like going to quit as well. And he's like, I promise no spooks tonight. I won't do anything to scare you, just as long as you promise to stay until tomorrow. I guess also he has some like big finale planned or something that he wants them to stay for as well. So Nancy agrees to this. And yeah, again, with the editing, somehow George is back at this moment and we're talking to George, but she tells Bess and Deirdre this, and they all decide that they're going to go back and check out the crates of Hackett silver that Nancy had found in the basement the other night. Again, just because we have nothing else to do today. So they follow Nancy's breadcrumb trail of silver fabric bits all the way back to the basement room. But when they get there, the crates are gone. So somebody moved them? Or the ghost did. I don't know. But then that night, Nancy asked to use Raphael's phone to call Ned. But then he's like, are you crazy? There's no signal out here. Like, nobody's using phones, and not just because it's like some show rule. And then Nancy's like, wait, that's weird though, because Jeremiah's phone must have signal because I heard him talking on his cell phone to someone named Noah. Or at least she thought he was on the phone. She heard him talking like he was on the phone, but she didn't actually, like, when she was looking through the peephole, she didn't actually see a cell phone.
Oh my God.
So was this Noah person just in the room with him? Is there somebody else in the house? So she tells Raphael this, and he actually makes a search of the entire house just to see if maybe there is somebody else here. But he does not find anyone else.
Well, this is the thing, though. It's like, okay, you're in basically what is the Winchester Mystery House here? How, unless you have a thorough knowledge and a floor plan and also enough people to search. She definitely doesn't. He's got 3 people with him. It's him, Latina, and Zach. Like, someone could just be evading you the whole time and you would never know. Like... And also, like, you're telling me you know every nook and cranny of that house when literally, like, the family member who, like, owns it is here?
Yeah.
No. What do you mean you can confirm no one's in the house? No, you can't. No, you can't.
No, you can't.
No, you cannot. But anyway. So anyway, that night, all the girls, and this is the biggest mistake that they make in this whole book. George is back somehow,
Maybe
or
they
she
just
never
didn't
left.
pick her up yet. I feel like maybe something with Pete. He didn't come get her yet or something.
I
Pete,
literally
the driver?
checked back though, and they say that George leaves.
Oh my gosh.
Like,
okay,
I looked back because I was like, wait a second, did we? Yeah, 'cause that was my first thought too. I was like, oh, maybe I missed it where it's like she was going to leave, but then she didn't, and she's going to leave tomorrow or something. But no, they literally say George leaves, and then like a page later, she's there.
Yeah. George is a time traveler.
Well, because also that was part of the reason why Nancy was going to call Ned, because George was going to go leave, right, to go like research with Ned, figure out if they can learn anything about Jeremiah and or this house, and figure out what's going on. So she was going to call Ned to check in to see, hey, have you figured anything out yet?
Yeah, I don't know where George went.
If George never left, then how would Ned know to have done this?
No, he wouldn't have. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
So I'm like, so she had to have left. So did she come back? It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. This is just a mistake in the book. She shouldn't have been here. But so George is there. But unfortunately, this is like a kind of a big plot point.
Yeah.
You could have just substituted George for anybody else. Like, then we, like Bess or Deirdre, like we wouldn't have, like it would have been fine. This is what I'm saying. They needed to edit it, do another round of edits. They clearly didn't do enough. But anyway. So that night, they're all back in the room, same room, George, Bess, Nancy, and Deirdre. And Nancy is drifting off on a couch that they've brought in so that she doesn't have to sleep on the floor when she feels George squeeze her hand because she's like right next to the other couch where George was going to be sleeping. And so she wakes up, but then immediately she hears George talking from the doorway asking like if someone has floss. And so it's like, wait, who just squeezed her hand if George wasn't there right next to her? Spooky. The next day is the last day, and Raphael announces that they are going to have a seance that night with a special guest, which, I love this. I'm so excited. But Jeremiah is really agitated about this and tries to convince Raphael to not do this. But Raphael is determined, and this was like in the original contract they signed for the show that they were going to have this seance. But again, also, this is really insensitive of like, this is a real family and you have like the family representative here. And it's like, yeah, they shouldn't have signed the contract in the first place, probably if they weren't comfortable doing this, because clearly it was in the contract. But like, still.
Yeah, I'm like, Jeremiah, none of this had to happen. You could have just said no to filming.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Okay, we got to talk about this later.
Yeah.
We got to talk about this later. But anyway, so they're going to move forward with this seance. But unfortunately, we learned that Pete never made it to the airport to pick up their special guest for this. And now this is confusing again because Nancy is now concerned about Pete and George, because apparently George left with Pete to go to River Heights. Now, when that happened, I don't know, because she was just here last night. So whatever. But Nancy is concerned that maybe they never actually made it to River Heights. Well, no kidding. She was just here last night. But whatever. But so anyway, their guest arrives, but it's like much later than they intended because they ended up having to take a taxi from the airport instead of getting the ride from Pete. Anyway, this special guest is Madame Zolonka. Great fake name. And she is, of course, the medium who is going to be leading this seance. She's also like a family friend of Raphael's, and it's really cute. She's like talking about, and she's so sweet about him, talking about like how, he's made it so far and he was such a good boy whenever when he was little. So it's cute. So Madame Zolonka has them sit around a table and they all join hands and they close their eyes. But Nancy has, I guess, very cleverly taken the hand from the Sarah Hackett dummy and loaded it into the arm of her sweatshirt. So, like, she sits next to Jeremiah, and when they all join hands, she gives him the dummy hand to hold.
And he doesn't notice. It's not a real hand.
No. And while he's holding the dummy hand, she, I guess, somehow snakes her arm out of her sweatshirt and, like, pickpockets his cell phone out of his pocket. Which, like, why?
Genius.
Why? I guess she wants to see who he's calling, so that makes sense. But, like, she doesn't look at this because we're mid-seance. So I find this visual so funny of, like, Nancy one-armed pinned to her side in her sweatshirt while someone next to her is holding the hand of a dummy. I just find that hilarious. But so when they all open their eyes, because Madame Zalanka then tells them to open their eyes, they see the ghostly form of Sarah Hackett floating above the table. Nancy, of course, can pretty immediately see that this is just a projection, and she even, like, makes eyes with Raphael and clocks that, like, he knows that she knows that this is fake or whatever. But she does admit that, kind of because it's cold and there's all the candles and it's also, like, raining outside, that it's a pretty spooky effect. And then a voice comes out of nowhere and says, "I am Sarah Hackett. For nearly 100 years I have walked these halls, and now I will reveal to you the secrets of Hackett Mansion." And so this makes Jeremiah freak out, and he tells Sarah to be quiet. But then suddenly, Madame Zalanka's head falls back, and her eyes turn white, and a voice that doesn't sound like her own or the voice that was just talking says, "I am Sarah Hackett, and this house is filled with vile pestilence. The earth is poisoned. Fish die, birds die, we all die." And Jeremiah jumps up and yells at her to shut up. And then Nancy, like, catches, like, a whiff of smoke. But Jeremiah is freaking out, so Ted and Raphael tackle him to the ground. And then Madame Zalanka, again speaking in this Sarah Hackett's voice, just says, "Fire, run." And then suddenly the room fills with smoke, and Nancy looks up to see flames on the ceiling, and Raphael yells at them all that this is not a special effect and that they all need to get out of here right now. And so they all start running to try to get out of this mansion. But in the commotion, Deirdre gets separated. So Nancy and Bess go after her, and they end up finding her. But, like, when they get to her, their way back to the front of the house is, like, blocked by fire. So they're, like, running around this on fire mansion, desperately trying to find a way out. They end up, like, making it into that secret passageway that to the basement that they used before. Actually go down into the basement for some crazy reason.
Why would you go further into the house trying to get out?
Don't understand this at all. Surely you'd be, like, trying to find a window or something.
What is the basement going to do for you?
They literally, it's like they act like they think that they can, like, shelter down here.
No,
but, like, that's not how fire works.
The smoke inhalation alone would have gotten them in, like, a minute.
Well, literally what starts to happen is, like, the floor starts to, like, break apart and fall on them. So they're like, yeah, we can't stay here. So they start to leave. But while they're leaving, Nancy notices that there's, like, a book on the ground down here that wasn't here before. And so she grabs that on their way out.
Okay, so they go down into the secret passageway even further, but now it's so smoky in here that's all Nancy can see, and she has no idea even what direction she's going in until somebody starts tugging at her sleeve, just very, very faintly, almost as if they're trying to, like, lead her to the correct path. So she calls out to Bess and Deirdre, and they keep going through the smoke and the flames, and they reach a dead end. But then a panel in the wall just, like, opens by itself. And so they're able to go through that panel, and she feels the tugging on her sleeve again, and the voice, and she actually hears a voice that says, "Come here, Nancy Drew." And then Deirdre actually passes out from smoke inhalation at this point, and so Bess and Nancy have to carry her. But eventually they do make it outside, and then they all three just collapse on the lawn. Okay, so Nancy at this point pulls Jeremiah's cell phone out of her pocket and calls 911. Why would you call fire services? She calls Ned and says, "There's a fire going on. Call the fire department for me." And so he calls the fire department, and then he starts heading that way. He's going to drive over there as well. And so Nancy decides that she's going to go back towards the house because she hasn't seen other people exit yet. Like, I think Raphael and Ted are still inside. So she's decided she's going to go back into the house to get them. But then they do come out of the house at this point, and then she just passes out. When she wakes up, she finds herself on a stretcher, and her dad, Ned, George, and Chief McGinnis are all here. And they tell her that everyone made it out safe. It's okay, but the house did burn down. And Jeremiah admitted to setting the fire to prevent them from learning the secrets of the mansion. But what is the secret? So Carson pulls out the book that Nancy found on the ground in the basement and shows her that this is actually Sarah Hackett's journal. And this is where we need to read, again, just directly from the story. Gosh, even this explanation is not entirely 100% clear. But this is what it says. "The ghosts are coming for me. Hackett's silver itself has poisoned the earth, the river, and our very souls. My vegetable garden, my chickens, the fish Nathan caught, we suspected it for years, but we wanted the fortune it gave us. People downriver began to sicken and die, but we said nothing. Then the poison attacked us, our limbs and our very minds. Nathan was not himself when he leaped to his death in the river, and now his ghost haunts me and all the ghosts of those downriver. And the birds and the animals of the forest blaming me for never speaking up. I must hide from them, trick them, so when they search for me in the night, they will not find me. I saw a ghost just tonight gliding beneath the moon. He called to me, 'Sarah Hackett, we will find you. No matter where we hide, we will come for you.'"
That's horrifying.
Yeah. So that explains our construction.
Yeah.
And the whole thing with the Hackett silver. So the Hackett silver polluted the land, polluted their water supply, supposedly, caused people to die and or lose their minds. And so she kept building onto the house as a way to, I guess, confuse the ghosts into not being able to find her.
Mm-hmm. And it's just like, okay, like I get it and that's fine and everything, but this is like literally like a direct ripoff of like the Winchester stuff, because that's like what everyone says about the Winchester Mystery House, is that she was guilty because of all of the deaths that her husband caused from the production of like the Winchester rifle. A Winchester repeating rifle, I think, specifically. I don't know. And because that's how they made all their money, obviously. And so, like, it's literally it's a direct ripoff of that.
We also learned that the Noah that Jeremiah was talking to on the phone, or what, we don't know, this is his little brother who died mysteriously last year. So does he think his brother's ghost is in the house? Is he just kind of just like generally talking as though he's still talking to his brother?
I kind of think he murdered his brother.
Right? Okay. We'll talk about this in just a second. Okay. But then Madame Zalanka is wheeled over to Nancy. She's on a gurney and on oxygen, I guess, from the smoke inhalation as well, as she grabs Nancy's hand and tells her, "I made real contact. First time in my entire career. She wants you to know she's at peace now. She doesn't have to hide anymore."
What? What?
You want to take our wrap up here?
Sure. So we just cut to a year later, a full-on year later, which I guess makes sense because production of a television show takes time or whatever. But
sure.
A year later, Nancy, Bess, George, Deirdre, and Ned are all gathered at Nancy's house to eat. Specifically, they say pesticide-free berry pie from berries from Nancy's garden. I guess because of the whole like Hackett silver poisoning the earth thing, we're very clear to say that these have not been poisoned, I guess. I don't know.
It's very 2008. I mean, I feel
Yes.
like we had just started the, like, greenwashing.
Environmental, yes,
Yeah,
yeah,
mhm.
and we're gonna watch Can You Hack It, which Raphael ended up turning into a 4-part documentary exposing the secrets of the Hackett Mansion. And he actually got a deal with PBS because of this and is now making a series of these documentaries, and is no longer making horror films. So Bess is all upset because she didn't get the opportunity to be a scream queen.
Aw.
But she just sighs and says that she'll be in a movie someday. And then Nancy is thinking, though, that she's still not sure how she got out of the mansion that day. And was it the ghost of Sarah Hackett leading her, to safety? And so she just gives like a little bit of a whispered thanks to Sarah, if it was indeed Sarah who saved her life. And then she feels a puff of cold air on her cheek. The end.
Oh my gosh. Okay, no, I'm confused about Jeremiah because we
Yes.
call him a murderer at the end, don't we?
Well, he set the fire for sure. But here's the thing is like we learned that like a couple years ago or something, and I didn't put this in there because I was confused, but he got like a surveyor to come out and survey the property. And so the theory is that, and then the surveyor like disappeared.
Mhm.
So the results of the survey were like never published, right? Like they never got those. But so we're like, did the surveyor find out that, there was something wrong with the water or the land or something because of, industrial waste or whatever?
Mhm.
We don't know because he disappeared. But then the theory is that, oh, well, Jeremiah hired him. And then because like he found out, they don't explicitly say this in the story, but this is just kind of the assumption, that Jeremiah murdered him because he learned something about Hackett Mansion, which would make sense, right? Because if he's setting the fire to stop them from learning the truth about Hackett Mansion, he's yelling at Sarah to shut up when she's like about to reveal that the place has been like poisoned or whatever, then that would make sense. But why would you have a surveyor come out in the first place?
Yeah.
I guess maybe if that's when he learns and then he murders him, like he learns it, but then he realizes, oh, shoot, I can't let anyone else know about this. You have to die. But then his little brother, Noah, who was also like involved in this whole thing and hiring the surveyor, also dies mysteriously. So it's like, well, did he murder his little brother too?
It seems like it. The surveyor who conducted the survey appears to have died, also under mysterious circumstances like
Okay,
Noah.
he died. Yeah.
That will have to be investigated, Chief McGinnis said. So this surveyor discovered that the land was polluted. Oh yeah, Jeremiah Hackett wanted to keep the family skeleton in the closet, and he murdered anyone who could reveal the truth. So did he murder his brother because his brother also heard the results of the survey? They just say that he's a murderer just so plainly, but we don't ever
He's certainly an attempted murderer. He tried to kill all of them,
right,
just now, but because he set the fire. So yeah, I don't know. It's kind of seems like it. Alleged murderer.
They like state it like it's a fact that they had learned it after the thing. So yeah, he definitely killed his brother and the surveyor. That's dark. Messed up. Yeah,
it is dark for a Nancy Drew story. That's probably one of the darkest plots.
Yeah,
that we've ever had. I just don't understand. Fun. I just don't understand if he's trying to so desperately to hide this, truth of this property or whatever, why he invited a reality TV show to come out.
Why would you agree to anything if you already know this and you're like, I'm going to murder anyone who knows this? Why would you invite more people to have the opportunity to learn more about it?
Makes no sense. I guess we're supposed to believe, too, that his brain has been, like, addled by whatever pollution is in this area. Like, of course, not a sane person is, like, lighting the house on fire with him inside of it.
Right.
Like, even if it is to harm other people, for I guess, somewhat of a sane reason. I mean, I'm using sane in a
Yeah.
Like more of a clinical term, right? Like if you're trying to hide something, it makes sense that you would maybe try to kill someone to keep that secret.
Right.
He's not saying that like, oh, God spoke to me and told me I needed to kill you, you know?
Right.
He's saying like he has a clear motive, right, for the harm that he's trying to do. But what is not sane is to light the house on fire while you're inside of it.
Right.
That's not sane.
So the ghost is real?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. This is a ghost story with a real ghost.
She spoke through the medium. Yes. She held Nancy's hand in the night when she thought it was George. She put the journal on the floor of the basement when nobody else had the opportunity to do that we know of. And then the guiding through the hallways while the house was on fire, and then the puff of air at the end on her cheek.
Absolutely. 100% real ghost. And you can almost not deny it, right? Because Nancy had no way of knowing how to get out of that house from that secret passageway.
Okay, I kind of like it though.
It took her around. She never noticed. It opened up a panel in the wall. Because she gets to a point where it's like a dead end, and she's like, "Shoot, I don't know which way to go from here." And then the wall opens up on its own.
Sarah's a real ghost. That's. I don't know. I think it's kind of fun though, because
it is very fun.
Our 80s ones were very Scooby-Doo of like the ghost isn't even believable because it looks so human-like. Yeah, yes. And then we have to pull the mask off at the end. Complete 180 here, where it's like we're leaving it intentionally open. Kind of reminds me of Ghost of Thornton Hall a little bit, where we're having to get out during the fire, but then also. Were those real ghosts, or was it just the carbon monoxide poisoning, you know?
I didn't even think about the fire parallel. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so fun.
Very fun. Yeah. Very fun. And also feels a lot like a CW show episode to me.
Definitely.
Like they all get recruited to be a part of a reality TV show where they get put into a haunted house, and then they find a real haunting in the haunted house. That's exactly what would happen in an episode of the CW show. Except Bess would be the medium and they would have the seance on their own.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but...
Man, I think that this is just what we needed. Like these were, I think, maybe 50, 60 pages. Yeah. Obviously, the culprit was pretty obvious. I mean, we kind of knew it was going to be Jeremiah. Yeah. But other than that, like, I felt like it was still, like, just having those extra, like, 20, 30 pages in there was enough to make it an interesting story. I don't really need that many other suspects. I mean, Raphael did some suspicious-ish things at the start, but... Other than that, yeah, just a solid, spooky little plagiarism story. Heavily inspired. Yeah. Ghost story. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree. I totally agree. Obviously, yes, a big ripoff of existing stories that probably did it a hell of a lot better than this one, but like still spooky, fun. Nancy Drew, Deirdre's in it, like Ned is in it for 5 seconds and then gone and doesn't say another word, thank God. Like Bess and George, and like I don't know, it's just a fun version of that.
It's just the Nancy Drew version of Winchester Mystery House.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. I liked it, and I thought that it was a nice time for a nice Halloween theme time. Yeah. So yeah.
Okay, what else were we going to say about it? I feel like there was something else we said we were going to come back to, and I don't remember
I think
what it was
maybe
now.
Just the splinter thing. My thought is like, okay, well, I thought that maybe it wasn't Raphael who rigged up the splinter and that it was Jeremiah. That maybe it was like originally like another puff of air thing, and Jeremiah just put splinters into it somehow.
That makes sense to me, honestly.
Because Raphael seemed kind of surprised when Nancy announced what was happening. I mean, my thought is that like he didn't do that, but he takes kind of credit for it. Yeah. So I don't
not clear on that.
But. No. But other than that, yeah, that's it.
Well, now that we know that these are a little bit better than the 80s ones, hopefully because there's 4 in this collection, hopefully the other 3 will be just as good or just as fun. I won't use the word good necessarily, but
Yeah, you'll have to stick around for another year to see if we cover another one next Halloween. Do we do flashlight scores on these?
Okay. Usually, yeah, I think so.
I mean, it's tough because, like, compared to the other ghost stories, this is definitely better.
Oh,
but
yeah.
on the whole, it's not a good one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
2.8.
Okay.
2.75, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It was fun. It was fun. I liked it. It's just not good.
Yeah.
I don't know what to tell you, you know?
That's okay. Yeah.
Yeah. What about you?
I think I'm going to score it a little higher. I think 3.5, maybe 3.25, just because it was really fun. I loved having Deirdre there.
Yeah.
Again, it just needed some more editing.
It could have been so great is the thing. Like, I think if like we had fixed all of like the minor like inconsistencies, issues, and then also we added a little bit more Nancy Deirdre drama, I think it would have been perfect. You know what I mean? Like, it would have been great. We could have really gotten there. It's just like it clearly didn't get the attention it needed, you know? But that's okay. It's fine to read a little short story. It's not intended to be, a big deal or whatever. It's supposed to be a quick, fun read. So that's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine.
That's what this was. Quick, fun read. And that's all I need. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. Happy Halloween.
Yes, happy Halloween.
Yeah, thank you for sticking around, Regular Drews, and we hope you have a spooktacular time.
Yes.
See you next time.
See you then.
Thank you for listening to Regular Nancy Drew. If you like this episode, make sure to rate, review, and subscribe.
Email us at regularnancydrew@gmail.com.
You can also visit our website, regularnancydrew.com, and also follow us on Instagram at regularnancydrew.
You can also support us on Patreon. Patrons at the $3 level vote on upcoming episode topics and get exclusive access to our Scoop Sesh series.
And all patrons receive early access to each episode as well as weekly bonus content.
And to all you regular Drews out there, thanks for listening.